as teased earlier and promised and delivered, Trey Cobb is on the phone line, and I think that this is a perfect day for Trey Cobb to join the show with the news that came out with minor leaguers getting paid. We're talking $400 a week here. So, Trey, when you heard this news, I loved the tweet that you made, first of all. But when you heard this news, what was your initial reaction? Hey, we're going to get this $400 a week set in stone.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, that's our actual, pay is about $400 a week. So that's big time for them to say, hey, we, honor you guys that you planned on this income happening, and here it is. So that's nice. The thing that's, sucked and is kind of hitting hard is apparently, there's talk on Twitter that some of the, they had like some releasings and stuff of players yesterday. I haven't heard anything from the Mets about. None of my teammates, I don't think, have been released, but apparently some orgs who pay for that, being able to pay those guys, have released other minor league players. So that's frustrating, for those guys to get released while you're literally not even doing anything.
Are you surprised by that at all, though, Trey?
No, I think that that's the structure going forward that's going to happen in minor league baseball. That's the only way you're going to be able to pay these guys, what we deserve, which, I feel like, you look at, like Tulsa Oilers hockey, you look at like the minor league hockey schedule. I think that's probably the end goal for the people fighting for pay in minor league baseball, somewhere around $40,000 to $45,000 a year. I think that's probably the end goal. And the only way to get there is to do what Manfred has said, slash a bunch of the team away, take a bunch of the players out of organizations. And, it's frustrating, but, that's how business and how the world works.
Well, then obviously part of we found out was also medical benefits. I guess two-part question is this a new aspect? Had that been a part of your guys' structure within the minor leagues? And what does it mean for family? Is it a case where your wife and your newborns would have access with this medical service as well?
Yeah, so our medical insurance has been the same for a while now, where the player's covered for free medical stuff. You don't have to pay for your insurance, so that's really nice. But any family member you want to add is about $120 to $150 a month. But it's good insurance. You have to pay if you want dental. You have to pay extra if you want dental. You have to pay extra if you want vision. It's pretty typical stuff. But yeah, it's nice. We were able to have, since you're playing minor league baseball and you get to have, your tax income says you make $8,000 a year. So, you're able to qualify for, the state health care, things like that. That if we couldn't have qualified for that 45-day hospital stay in the NICU would have been something that was going to be hurting for probably the next 60 years.
That's former Oklahoma State pitcher Trey Cobb, now in the Mets organization. And Trey, how has it been with the adjustment, I guess, coming home and spending more time with your newborns?
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm sure the wife's loving getting help with the diaper duties.
Yeah, it's been awesome. We're they're growing up, so they're able to. We're trying to get them to sleep as long as they can now at night. We're not having to wake them up to feed them anymore, so we're letting them wake us up. So that's a big step. We're able to, switch off on nights now, to where she was just taking it all there for those 2 months, where she was just trooping along every day. And, props to her, because the amazing thing is, my biggest fear was I was going to leave for those, 2 months I was gone. And, she was going to, resent me at times. Maybe not tell me about it, but, be changing a diaper at 4 a.m, being like, Trey's sleeping in some hotel in Florida, But she never did. It was crazy. I think she knew that if she felt that way, or talked to me about it, the frustrations, that I would have been on the first plane back home. So family always first. But being home, Olivia actually laughed for the first time the other day, and I was able to be here to see it, which I wouldn't have before. So It's really exciting. They're starting to find each other, starting to stare at each other and look at each other. It's big. I mean, everything changes so much every day in their world. So it's exciting to be here for it for sure.
Well, and I saw your tweet the other night, the fact that it's truly becoming a house divided. It's already bedlam between you and your wife, but it sounds like the twins are also creating sides.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to have to make sure that they, like a whole bunch of sports, like a wide array like Dad does. Because if they're, football-only girls, we might have a tough time convincing them that they need to side with the orange and black. But if we can get, all the sports involved, if I can get them cheering on, cross-country and wrestling and baseball and stuff like that, then I think that I've got a chance to at least get one of them. That's all I want. I just want one of them to, sit down with me and, give me a go Pokes, or sit down and watch the game with Dad and root against Mom.
Hey, Trey, with the news that came out yesterday, I guess now with the NCAA, with the vote for the spring athletes getting extra eligibility, is that something that we were pretty happy to see, especially for the baseball guys?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it made any sense to give the seniors an extra year and not give anybody else an extra year. It's going to be a headache for, coaches. It's great for fans. It's great for players that are already there and established themselves. But for those guys that are leaving high school, going somewhere, and, I'm sure Josh has had to make a bunch of phone calls to these kids saying, hey, we were planning on you, because those guys, there's a whiteboard in the coach's office at Oklahoma State, right? And it has the starting guys on there and a little infield, right?
Yep.
And then it goes all the way down to I graduated 2017. It went all the way down to 2021 starting infield. So they just have that planned out, and there's surprises here and there, and some guys are better than they were going to be, and some guys are worse, but they have it that planned out roster-wise, scholarship-wise. Everybody has a spot.
That's really unbelievable.
And then all of a sudden now, boom, there's just this giant logjam. So I think the thing that's going to happen is you're going to see so many transfers. It's going to be just open water market for transfers, but you're also going to see the quality of the game increase even more, because there's more guys there with more experience, and it's going to be really fun to watch, because I think that the quality of college baseball next season is going to be the best baseball that college has ever seen.
Now, on the flip side of that, because, again, having been a college athlete yourself, I know you've got probably a lot of friends from other sports. Obviously, you're a big basketball fan as well. What's your stance? How are you feeling about those winter athletes who, while, yes, they got their regular season in, didn't get the opportunity to play what the ultimate goal is at the college level for national championships?
Yeah, that's really hard, because, you look at it and say, okay, well, they played 99% of their season. But what are you playing for? If you
for that 1%.
Compete for the title,
yeah.
Right? And I think that some sports are different. I think basketball, it wouldn't have made sense to give them, another year. I feel like with basketball, you play, I don't know, it just felt different. It's such a team thing that, it's hard. The end is never fun, whether you win it, whether you lose it, whatever. The sport that kills me is wrestling. I mean, it's because it's team, but it's so individual. And these kids are, fighting for these individual national titles that, it sucks for Cam McGriff, and it sucks for Desagua and Lindy Waters. But everybody knows that Oklahoma State wasn't going to win the national championship, It could have had a fun run, but it was pretty obvious in January that goal was not going to happen this season. Therefore, you're pretty much just delaying inevitable heartbreak by keeping playing. But wrestling, OSU wasn't going to win a team title this year. But there's individual guys that could have done it. And that was just gone. You don't get that opportunity, and that's where it hurts me. I think is it sucks not being able to compete for the championship when it's in grass. Like the KU seniors, it's like, oh man, that's horrible. That's something that you can't go, or you feel extra bad for Rutgers, and you feel for Dayton, and these schools that are either have a once-in-a-lifetime team or they have, an amazing group like KU did this last year. That's the teams that you're just like, man, that sucks.
Do you think with maybe part of the obviously money is involved for that decision, but like you mentioned, for basketball it just feels different, and obviously that's the biggest sport in the winter. The fact that a lot of these athletes are the one and dones. You see so many undergrads going pro, not even getting drafted, go and play internationally and stuff like that. That maybe that impacted the decision as well, because it's like, well, why do we need to offer them eligibility when half of them or more have no intention of coming back anyway?
Yeah, definitely. There's not the big national name that isn't going to ever get to play basketball again because of this. I think what is Cassius Winston a senior at Michigan State? I'm not sure if he is or not, but there's very few of these seniors that are amazing college basketball players that were on a team that could have made a run that can't play professional basketball somewhere. It's a very interesting group of people where this guy's a star in college, but everybody knows after college it's over, and he's on a good team. That's where the situation is. 3, 4, 5 guys like that. Where in wrestling, there's 65 of those guys that are never going to wrestle again. That have put in. Some of those guys have redshirted for a year and they've gotten whooped for 3 years and they figured it out this year, and they're never going to do it again. So I think that is why it feels so different, is because that, like you said, the group of seniors where it's like these are impact guys that are never going to play again, that didn't get to come to terms with making that final run, is so small.
Trey, last question here real quick. As far as you personally, and I'm going to be optimistic here and say we're going to have baseball again this year. As far as you personally, coming off Tommy John and everything, what are your expectations for when the season resumes?
I don't know. We're just going to take it one day at a time, and I'm going to act like they're going to call us down to report in 3 days every day. So I'm trying to stay ready. I'm trying to throw bullpens. I'm trying to find hitters to throw to, catchers to catch me. I'm trying to stay prepared, but I just don't see, with Major League Baseball coming out and saying that they're not going to start the season if they can't play in front of fans. I think that is going to push them back to, at least July. I mean, you have to guess, because things aren't getting, we are flattening the curve, but things aren't getting really better, Yeah. It's only getting worse. And I think if they would have said, okay, we'll play, without fans, that gives you the opportunity to start the season a lot earlier, because you have to expect by June testing will be more available, and they could test every major leaguer every day. And when some guy has it, boom, shut it down. And with no fans and them not playing in front of fans, the timetable gets really cloudy. So I'm hoping there's baseball this year. It's, you start seeing talks about no football, so that's scary too. If there's no football, there's no baseball. So there's just so many headaches that could go through. And you guys know, I'm sure you guys talk about it every day. It's just a time that you never would have, imagined could possibly happen. That not only are they shutting down sports, but they've shut down education everywhere. I just feel like in our lifetime, it was always, what if we had no sports? Like, what if I didn't care about sports? What would life be like? And then all of a sudden, boom, there's no sports. Yep. You're living it, and you're trying to fill your day.
You bring up a good point that I wanted to ask you, because this, again, goes beyond, baseball, because you could also look at it from the NBA prospect or, football down the road. How difficult it is for training during this social distancing right now.
Yeah, it's crazy hard. There's one place open in Tulsa right now, and it's got, everybody's trying to go there,
Yeah.
But you can only have 10 at a time. But there's one place, and they've got mounds, and then there's some football guys from OSU trying to work out there. There's football guys from OU working out there, and Tulsa working out there, and then you've got our pro baseball guys going in there, and it's very, it feels like you walk into the door, you get your temperature checked, and they give you a wipe, and you wipe down whatever you touch. Basically, they tell you to act like you are infected, It's like, when you come in this building, act like you have the virus. Don't go near anybody. Wipe down everything you touch. Take your temperature before, take your temperature after, do everything. And so, I think that they're being responsible with that. It's great that they've been able to stay open, because if you don't have that, then, there's guys that's where the injuries come, like we talked about, where you're not training and then you get down to, they say, hey, you have a month to train and then baseball starts, like a spring training. But if everything's shut down and you can't train, you're going to get down there. Spring training is not, hey, let's get down there, let's start, I'll go in with our arms, let's start lifting again. Spring training is, if you haven't been doing this for 4 months, you need to go home, because this thing is happening, right? And so spring training is basically just the first month of the season. You better be ready. And so if it's planned as 1 month of spring training and then here comes season and these things are shut down, and I'm lucky there's a place for us, but I know a lot of my friends that don't have that place, it's not going to be good. So they're going to have to look at a bunch of things. So I think they're going to have at least a month and a half to a 2 month period where they have us come down. It's going to push back that timeline more. But man, there's so many things that are happening, and so many things that could happen. It's crazy to play the what if game right now.
Yeah, it really is. Trey, thanks for joining us, man. And this is really, like I said, just extremely eye-opening time. And we love your perspective of it for sure. Good luck to you this season, if and when it happens. And go play with those babies, man.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Trey.